Like, remember when consoles used to have a personal end goal? Whatever happened to that? What is the end goal for the Switch 2 besides to make money? All these consoles, they've all gone to... This is kind of a hard topic to discuss, but it's one that needs to be discussed, and one that no one really discusses, is the fact that all three major consoles, the console industries, they've all gone against their word. And really, they've never really made words, they've never made promises directly to us, or have they? Back in 2013, PS4, their mission statement was consumer trust, because they were trying to win back the trust of their audience after screwing up bad with the PS3, and the Xbox One just completely shot itself in the foot and showed that they don't care about consumer trust at all. They just care about what they want to do, and they didn't even do that good. So PS4 and Sony actually listened and delivered everything that people wanted about the PS4 in 6 hours. They made that presentation bullet point by bullet point, and they actually delivered on what people were wanting. PS4 actually had goals to actually improve the PlayStation, actually make a new console, and actually make a good console, because everyone else was dying. And what end goal does the PS5 have, other than to make money, to keep Sony running, to keep the PlayStation running? There's no end goal besides power, and they're not even doing that with the PS5 Pro. They just made it more expensive to make it more expensive. And consumer trust, yeah, that's gone for all three of them. Sony is now doing weird, shady business corporation decisions. They've been giving their games insane budgets, and yet they're not making any games that people want. They're just focusing on MMOs, and they keep removing games from your own library. You bought it, it's in your library, and some people are just losing their games altogether. That's one way to improve consumer trust. Sony isn't really the most offensive one at the moment. They're kind of just there. I forget they exist, honestly, right now, because they haven't done jack in years. But meanwhile, Xbox, their mission statement by 2014 was to fix who they were. As quoted by Phil Spencer, "Let's go fix who we are." They gave up. That's a common theme of Microsoft. They do so well, and then they just give up. They give up and they turn a 180, and then they wonder why they're not doing well. They were doing so good to improve their stuff, clean up their acts. They fixed Windows with Windows 10. Xbox One was getting better. They introduced backwards compatibility. That was reading the room. And then they gave up. They stopped updating the list. Games like Halo Combat Evolved were even added to the backwards compatibility, but Chicken Little was for 4K upscale, and I was like, why? And then they stopped updating it altogether and just prioritized Game Pass, new games going directly to Game Pass that they're not even putting on Xbox. They're buying all of these companies, they're not even making them exclusives. Exclusives matter, because without them, what's the point of going to Xbox? You have other consoles to go to, or you just go to Steam. And I'm the one to say that people gotta stop comparing consoles to PC, and I honestly, that might be another general video I'll be making soon, but so they just went against everything. They just went against all of their promises, their words. Xbox One crumbled. It's now defunct with the Series X, and the Series X isn't even worth buying. Xbox is pretty much as good as dead, but they have billions in their pockets, so they're never gonna die. They're just gonna be a husk on life support. And it's sad, and it's the same for Windows as well. So many people are saying switch to Linux, and I agree with them. Or get a Mac and be like one of those losers. Like, what's the point in Windows, really? Just get something else to run Steam. Or just figure out a way to bypass security updates for Windows 7. Like, there's no reason to use modern Xbox. They're just going against their wishes, going against their promises to us, and they can't even be straightforward on that. Because their CEO leaders, each one of them, they never talk with each other whenever they're making announcements, and then everyone gets confused, and then we get the weird ad campaigns. They go against that and then retract, and then retract again, over and over and over and over again. Xbox is just a mess. Their mission statements from back in 2015 or 2014, they're gone. They're not even focusing on that. They're not trying to fix who they are and make a console. They're a half in, half out right now. It's literally the opposite of what they were promising 10 years ago. And it is depressing. And meanwhile, the Switch 2, their mission statement, Nintendo doesn't say anything outright, but their mission statement was to clean up their act from the Wii U and give us an actual good console, a serious console. And then we were getting like promises of actually having a good console. They went against that. The Switch 2, it's now all about the money. It's not about the consumer. It's to make a buck, a quick buck. They do not care. They're in a stage of passing on the torches to new CEOs, and they're all money. Reggie retired, and then he had to come out and make a statement because they tried to release the Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour digitally, separately for $10, and it's an instruction manual. And Reggie came out and had a powwow about that. It's no longer about the Nintendo difference, because now they're making exclusive from software games for a Switch 2. It's no longer Nintendo different. It's no longer just making good quality games. It's no longer making a good quality console. That was the mission statement, because the Wii U was not a good console. And now we're just rehashing the Switch 1 for a profit at $450, and you have to spend so much money on accessories. Some of it's out of control, but like, they're so greedy. They just want to make as much money as possible, squeeze as much out of your wallets as possible. They've gone against their wishes. Xbox has gone against theirs. Sony has gone against theirs. Yeah, it's just sad. All of these consoles, and none of them are cleaning up their acts, because we're at a point where like they're gonna make money regardless. So they're never gonna change. They're never gonna have just a revelation, take a cold shower. They're never gonna do that. It's just going to be worse and worse and worse until eventually we get the hard reset that everyone's been wanting. And it's kind of sad, because no one's addressing it, no one's caring. We can't do anything about it. Anyone who addresses it, they're all YouTubers, and they buy their stuff anyways because they're obliged to do it to make money. That's why the Switch 2 became the fastest selling console. And now Nintendo's not going to change their ways and clean up their act. It's just going to get worse. And there's nothing else left. This is a pretty short general video to make the schedule, but it's something very sad. And this is definitely something that is going to be getting covered in the Curse of Modernization sequel that I am making, because all of this needs to be said, because I'm tired of people ignoring this. It's just, and that's the end of the sentence, the end of the statement. All these consoles have gone against their wishes. And the AC vent behind me will not shut up!